Well, we just want to welcome you back. We're so happy that you have journeyed with us over the last 4 weeks. So glad that you are still hanging in there with us to the very end. Again, our beautiful word cloud from everybody's thoughts and interactions with one another. We want to remind you that to do the Google Doc. So click on that link. And if you haven't done so, do your check-in. Tell us how you're feeling today. Tell us what you have learned over the last 4 weeks. And insert your golden line or your strong line from any one of the readings or videos that you did for session 3. So, and we'll be giving you time for that as well. So we'll go on to the next slide. So today our learning objectives are going to be to make connections between the readings and the work with ePortfolios, discuss and reflect how ePortfolios can be a tool for student support, community building, and assessment. Assessment is a great thing for ePortfolios. I think it's definitely touches upon the equity work that we're all engaging in. So there's still lots more. It's a rich discussion in terms of the benefits of ePortfolio. Engage in a gallery walk peer review of your ePortfolio. So hopefully you have, even if it's not finished, it's okay because it's a work in progress. I mean, I have an ePortfolio that I put together really quickly, but I know that I can improve it. And so as time goes on, I think all of us are going to only improve our ePortfolios and the work that we do. And then plan for next steps and check-ins. So on the agenda for today, of course, we're going to welcome you. We've done that. We've gone over our objectives. Iris is going to take us through our gots and needs and recommendations. We're going to do a little bit more strengthening knowledge. Of course, we're going to do the peer review of the portfolio element 3, the rubrics and reflective introduction, or the project statement. And we're going to do a gallery share. And then we're going to wrap up by doing some reflections and next steps. And I'm going to hand it over to Iris.
Okay, so our gots and needs. Sadly, we only got one person that did it all the way through, but it's okay. You guys can make that up with the next one. We do have one more at the end of the session. Our gots was information. They got information on the rubrics and examples. The needs was more time, and I know we all need more time. Thankfully, we're gonna have another session series in winter. And the recommendation was to include more time to work on the ePortfolio and give constructive feedback in the breakout rooms. There will be a lot of that in this session. And we also had another question, which was, how do we design meaningful assignments to the ePortfolio? And we will be going over that too. So thank you so much. And I hope you guys do the gots and needs for this session.
We're going to go ahead and take about 7 minutes to center ourselves in the conversation. So again, if you haven't already, go ahead and post a strong line from our readings this week and its significance to you and our journey with ePortfolios. In our shared Google Doc, you have all the links here. And then go ahead and peruse and, kind of, you can use this any way you like. So it's a good idea to think about, what ideas are being generated, what connections can be made. But it's also kind of nice to check and see how people are doing. I do this a lot with my students, and I know, many of you do as well, just to kind of, check in. And so if we put that we're at a 2, we might want to say like, how you doing? Let me be of support. Okay, so you have, okay, this is where I remember that I need to click instead of doing that. Okay. So you have the homework down here and the readings are here and the Google Doc is here. So you should have all the links that you need. So we'll go ahead and give you about 7 minutes. Who is our timekeeper?
I can be the timekeeper.
Oh, thank you, Diana. You don't want to trust me with the timekeeping. We'll have 7 hours. For those of you who just joined us, we are so happy that you're here. And I know that we have added a link for the presentation. It's coming here. Okay, so go ahead and go in and oh, no worries at all, Amber. You are fine. So we're just doing slide 6 right now, which is centering ourselves in the conversation. So you can go ahead and navigate there. And Trang, you can go ahead and message me and I will answer your question.
"30 seconds left, so start finding a stopping point."
So we are seeing some so I think that Iris is getting some of the feedback that she was hoping for. here in our Google Doc that we share together. And we just want to remind everybody that these resources will continue to be available to you after indefinitely, because this is your document. So, you know, all of this is still for you. And also the Google site will continue to be available to you. That is yours. So don't feel like it's going to shut down and become someone else's. The Padlet, because we only have 3, we may have to see like how we could consolidate, but everything else is 100% yours. Okay, so, or I should say ours as a collective. So we're seeing a lot of cautious optimism about our political situation after some very, very tense moments, right? And we see some very, you know, kind of also hopeful moments here about ePortfolios as we kind of, you know, find our way forward together as well. And that way, it is really encouraging to hear. And Trang, I apologize for not giving the moment that you were talking about that full weight when you were talking about how your campus might be, you know, moving in the direction of adopting some, you know, ePortfolios that day. So that is pretty exciting, including West LA, Fullerton, Jean's campus. So, you know, we're hearing that some folks are definitely adopting. Back to our slides. Okay, and I think you all have the slide deck, but if you don't, please let us know and we will share it with you. Okay, so we hope that centering time was helpful. And now we're going to go ahead and put you into breakout rooms so you can kind of talk about some of this stuff with each other. And you get a bonus if you refer to the text in your discussion. So yay! So guiding questions, what new ideas are being generated, what new connections. If you didn't have the time to do the reading, which we totally understand, you know, pull it out and do one of those, you know, kind of, you know, just looking through it as, you know, as you have this conversation. But also, you know, I mean, this really is about assessment. So, you know, what's coming up for you? What are you thinking about? How can ePortfolios kind of fit into that? So I'm going to grab our breakout room here. And I'm going to assign them. So let's say that we've got, okay, that looks good. All right, everybody. So we're going to put you in there for about 10 minutes and have fun.
We can see your mouth moving, Keelan, but we can't hear you.
Well, I was saying so many lovely things. Yes. I was saying that there was a family reunion going on in one of the rooms with Amber and Jean. So that was very nice. And Jennifer looked like she heard me. I think she's a lip reader. I feel like Jennifer's actually a lip reader. So that's a very.
She's a mind reader, actually. Like, let's.
I am. I'll talk about what she was actually saying. She was giving us all of the secret codes to everything that we need. So
I know, right? I know. And now I forgot them. So now it's like, it's all over. Hilarious. I know. All right. Well, I hope it was fun to talk with each other and to just, you know, think about this you know, the different elements. And I know many of us are very interested in the nuts and bolts, and it's very helpful because as we think about moving forward, we have to think about, you know, some different elements, including campuses like Fullerton that are kind of moving in the ePortfolio way. You know, how can we support everybody? And so that's why, just to put a plug here, we really need your feedback, like really, really need it as we move forward, just to get a sense of what you all, like, as campuses need. As faculty, do you need that kind of support? Are there things that we can do as, you know, as an organization as well with 3CSN to support, you know, your larger mission, which is to, you know, bring, because gosh, it would be amazing. Like if you bring like ePortfolios to the entire campus, that would be a dream come true, you know, as we think about, you know, making everything more equitable. Landy, it's so good to see your face. I love those bookshelves. They always make me so happy. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put these slides. Okay, I cannot take credit for those adorable up arrows. Those are from Iris, but we've got the slides here in the chat. And we're going to go ahead and move forward. So let me share my screen again. Oh, this is the best. All right. But apparently it's not self-care, according to Jean. All right, so we're going to give you, let's say, because we're kind of running a slightly bit behind schedule because we're getting so happy in our discussions, but let's just take a couple minutes to just kind of share some takeaways with your ideas, reflect on the group discussion. If you just joined us, which I know a few of you did, you know, just whatever comes to mind right now is fine. Or just, you know, take a minute to catch your breath, because we know that we all, I feel like I haven't exhaled in about 4 years. So, you know, it's like trying to feel like maybe that might be possible soon. But as Diana said, I should hold my breath for a little bit longer. Okay.
It ain't over till the Electoral College sings. Well, some takeaways that we got from our group discussion was the importance of really helping students do metacognitive thinking, you know, and guiding them through that, because we can do tests and we can do summative assessments, but is that really going to mean anything like 5 to 10 years from now? Like, are you going to remember? I don't remember that chemistry final I took at UCSD when I was in college, you know, but what I do remember is the process of what I went through to figure out a problem. So I think that's kind of our takeaway from our group discussion. Steve and Lisa, I don't know if you want to add anything.
No, that sums it up really well. Just authentic assessments. And the ePortfolios really play into that really well.
Yes.
Thank you so much. That is so cool. And we're excited to see. And that's, you know, that's also part of it. Yeah, we're going to the peer review. Okay, so let's see. Let me grab this. All right, so we're going to put you into the same rooms so you can do a peer review. Diane, do you think 12 minutes, 15? You're on mute, so I'm assuming that you're saying 15.
Indeed.
All right, cool. All right, opening up the rooms, because I know what we most want to do is talk to each other. All right. So we're going to do the peer sharing, 15 minutes to share in trios, a reflective introduction or project statement, and rubric or plan to co-create it. If you haven't created already, share your plans with the group. These idea generating moments can be quite powerful, as we know. When we talk to each other, it's amazing the stuff we come up with. And we do have a sharing protocol. If you decide that you want to do that, that is wonderful. And we'll see you back at the ranch in a few minutes. 15.
Okay.
All right, everyone. Well, we are super happy to come to a fun part. It was all fun. But we're going to come to another fun part, which is our celebratory peer share. So for those of you who do have something, how many of you have an actual ePortfolio that you're going to be uploading? Could you do your virtual hand raise? Okay, does anybody?
Well, I mean, I could share.
Okay, well, I'm just kind of wondering. So let me do, okay, yes, Amber, I saw your skeleton. That was a good one. Yeah. Yeah, you're starting, right? So we're kind of trying it out, and it's a bit tricky, right? Because on the one hand, it's not necessarily, a requirement for us to make our own, but it is helpful for us to go through the process of making one, because then we understand, first of all, the productive struggle that our students go through as they think about, what am I going to do with this thing and how am I going to do it, et cetera, right? So I'm going to go ahead and share the Padlet, and then let's see, because maybe we can have this be an ongoing experience that we all have, but perhaps the time might be better spent kind of looking at this a little bit as, as how you could use this, and then having a conversation. I'm sorry, it's getting loud back there. This is the academic household, as we all have multiple sounds going on. Okay. All right, so let me get in here. Okay, so is everyone seeing this celebratory peer share? Okay, so we're going to go to the Padlet, and this is a way that somebody asked at the beginning of the sessions about how you could do a gallery walk virtually with students. And in one of the in our breakout room, I know Trang was asking about, kind of, we were thinking about the equity that's involved in, you know what, hold on one second. Let me just, I'm going to make this sound better. Okay, so what I started doing was to create a Padlet. And this is just padlet.com. Some of you have, a few of you have put something here. I know Caroline couldn't come today, but she has hers here. Amber has hers here. So this is a mood board, which is an interesting choice, kind of like a medium, to be able to use. And actually what I appreciate about that, Amber, is that, you're showing us that there are multiple ways that we can do it. And as I mentioned to someone at one point, actually a Padlet could become an ePortfolio as well. Like, there are so many different things that you could use for it, right? But I think giving students choice is a very important thing. And so as we were talking about in our breakout, sometimes we panic and we're like, okay, so we've got to show the students how to do all this stuff. And like, if they're going to do a video, like, we have to show them all the stuff, and we get really stressed and we're just like, oh my God, they have to know all the stuff. And then we kind of like step back and say, you know what, let me just have a little faith. Let me just, and if they need help, then we'll have a community hour and they can come and we'll help them out. But maybe they're going to be okay. And you know what? We hold our breath again, because I spend a lot of my time apparently holding my breath. But then they do it, and they impress the heck out of us in ways that we can't even, imagine. Like, they come up with stuff that we, are amazed by. And so I'm constantly reminding myself that we have to give them the opportunity to step up and to do these things, and then, but with high support. So it's a high expectation, a high rigor, right? But at the same time, with that good high support. So the way that I set this up, we have the Padlet. You can just create one. We have different formats. So this particular one that I like is the wall, and this one This one has like the header. So it's nice because each of them has like a column header, and they just add the plus here. Sometimes I like to do it myself, so you can decide whether you want them to submit the link so that you can make sure, and then you can just put their names here. But this is a very helpful way. And then you can add comments. So you can go into it and then you can put the comments here, so that you can, like, for instance, like if we were to look at Amber's, and then we really appreciated, you know, how she used the image of herself on the cover, and, you know, then maybe some feedback that you might have about ways that she, you know, things that she might think about doing, to, like, for instance, like when I just did, and I, you know, been talking about it, but my ePortfolio consultations that I had with my students, they were so great. And it was really cool to have these conversations with the students and to say, okay, so let's look at your page. I'm noticing that as we're scrolling, like, I'm not really seeing you. So what is happening here? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? And so they're actually able to engage in that process of thinking about how deliberate it is. Then I look at the columns and I say, okay, so how do you want us to read this? Do you want us to read this from left to right? Because your menu is showing us you're starting here. It's kind of like, maybe that's something to think about. Like, do you want us to start with, you know, like, for instance, like if we're looking at our ePortfolios, and, you know, we're starting on the left with, you know, maybe the learning, you know, the personal learning history. Do we want to look at that first, you know, or do you want us to look at that first? Or what do you want us to see first, right? Some of the students do a continuous scrolling page. So do we want that to be, you know, how are they anchoring the different sections so that we can access those differently, you know, things like that. And so those are, you know, those are useful pieces to kind of consider, and it can make this experience richer. And so with the peer review, when I asked the students actually before they met with me, which I'm going to admit that few of them actually looked at it. It's true. But they had some guidelines. I did have one student who wanted to go through the entire list. I was like, this was just for you to look at, not for me to look at, you know, but it was like for them to do a self-review where they thought about those things ahead of time to kind of go through. All right, so do folks have any, you know, thoughts or questions about, you know, about the way that we might showcase the gallery walk, or or rather our ePortfolios for the students? You know, this is one way. It's not the only way, clearly. Definitely, it's a way that has worked pretty well for me in a pandemic. But, you know, when we're face to face, I like to do this in a symposium style. So the students will, you know, and Iris, do you want to briefly, Iris, tell them about the process for that?
Of the gallery walk?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what we did was we would have about 5 or 4 people presenting a day, and then we would make groups, and then those groups would watch one person, then move on to the next, and then move on to the next, in like increments of time. So that way we were able to fit more people in a day, and that was really nice. I was able to see more than one person's day. So like if I didn't have mine like completely finished, I was able to see more than just 3, and maybe incorporate those like ideas that they had into my portfolio, and on their laptops. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a peer review session. So this was a switch for me, because usually it's kind of like you do a presentation and then you can't change it anymore. But then it's like everyone's kind of seeing stuff, so they don't really see it as a process, right? So this became a symposium style, but then it was also that they were taking notes, and then the students were giving feedback, so they were able to kind of, you know, share with each other. in this powerful way. But I wanted to do it in breakout rooms last semester, and it just was not going to work. It was just not going to work. And so maybe someone else can find a way to do that. But I felt like, you know, especially when we're thinking about asynchronous settings and things like that, you know, I think that this is a good, I think Padlet is a good way to present. But Trang and team, like I think Trang and I and Martha and Rumi had an idea along with Iris about like a possibility for having the, did you want to talk about that, Trang, since we got very excited? And if you want to join our movement, you can come.
I think that the consensus is that we're out of time for the semester. And so what if we have them, instead of doing a separate project statement, was to kind of combine the project statement with some sort of video. And I guess we were talking about like, so if in this video, they're actually doing kind of like a visual essay, of course we'd have to construct the assignment for it. And so that's where we were getting kind of excited, because it would require some collaboration to really do it. I mean, we know that the students have certain tools like Screencast-O-Matic or Studio or Flipgrid, but we just need to construct the assignment so that they know what they're expected to do. And so I was like asking Keelan if we could maybe set up some time where we could meet to maybe design this assignment. And I'm sure that there's a draft of something, right? Or a skeleton of it somewhere. We would just tweak it for this particular goal that we had.
Yeah, because we have, I mean, you know, I'm not saying it's the best thing that ever was created, but I have a project statement assignment already. So I was thinking that what we could do is even using, I mean, it could be that, it could be the instructions that I just gave the students to walk through their own work already. They've already done it once, right? You know, like looking at their fonts, looking at their, you know, all the things. And yes, Amber, I think Screencast-O-Matic could be their cell phone, right? You know, they could, but you know, however they're going to do it, they probably will need to show us, they'll need to find a way to show us. So they could use Zoom for sure, Screencast-O-Matic and Canvas Studio, because those are things that are built in, right? So that would require like maybe a short support with that, but they could kind of like just explain to us like how they, and they're pretty skilled at many of these, you know, things. My students are vlogging right now. They're very excited. They're sending me messages. They're like, Professor, it's students I never see. They're like, Professor, I just wanted to like show you my face right now. I'm like, thank you. Because I see a black screen most of the time. So it's good to see your actual face as they're like, you know, telling me about how they're doing and stuff. So I think, you know, again, this is a place where we can kind of like let them lead a little bit and, you know, maybe talk to them and say, you know, how are you all, you know, how do you think it would be best to do this? And then they can kind of, you know, help us to come up with, you know, maybe a couple of options, and then we can open it for them, because anytime that we, you know, work with each other would be great. And yeah, I think that, I think this actually is a great idea, and something that I've been kind of thinking about, because I was like, oh, video, I kept thinking like video and project statement. I'm like, you know, how can we kind of, because it feels like there's a lot coming up still for them. And, you know, I'm trying really hard to keep their stress levels as low as possible while still giving them that feeling of having productive struggle. And I think it'll be a good match. All right, so anything else? Anybody? We got about 10 minutes. So if not, I know Tring is super smart. It is a wonderful collaboration in this. Oh my God. Every time I get together with you all, I just get super excited. Okay, so I'm not kidding. I did not sleep last night, and I blame you all because you're so interesting. I just can't sleep. Okay, we will talk about when we're doing a Tring. Probably in the wee hours of the morning, considering I'm not sleeping anymore. Okay. All right. So we were going to give you 5 minutes to do your thinking, but I think we're going to move to, we have a one-word thing. So we have resources to share. So we wanted to share that, you know, again, we're all about sharing. As Jean knows, we are a sharing community, right? All right, so we've got resources here, so you can look at those. And then we have a permission to use work. And this one, we would really appreciate it if you could let us know if we have permission to use to use the work for purposes of demonstrating the value of the work that we're doing in these labs. And, you know, again, you can put any stipulation that you want in there. I use this with my students. You can use this one too with your students if you're not already doing it. This is a way to, you know, kind of ask them for permission. And then it's really, really helpful because, you know, like for instance, Iris's work has been just magically wonderful with this other students to be able to share it with them and they all feel like they know her. You can choose whether you give your okay or decline, but please fill it out. You know, again, we're moving forward. And then we have an end of lab survey and reflection. And this is one of my personal favorite things. I do this also with my students. And we would really, really appreciate it if you could fill out this survey and reflection as thoughtfully as possible. These are free sessions, and this really, really, really helps us. And as honestly as you can, if there's something, you know, as I was saying, you know, you're thinking about programmatic changes and you were hoping for something and how might we add that, you know, we are just over the moon with happiness when we hear about other ideas. If you have something that you think that you might be able to contribute, let us know that too. And then we would like for you right now, Iris, did you want to say this part?
Yeah, if you could please put one word to share one word in the chat about your learning in this design lab so we can make another word cloud to have beside our first one that we made in the first session.
Thank you, Iris. Yay.
Oops, I put more than one word. Sorry, I got excited.
Oh no, I love that. Ooh, I like that one, Landy. I keep thinking about the hive mind, you know, how we all like come together and just how like amazing it is, like when our brains get together and we give ourselves this non-spa time. Okay. I like to call it a spa day for the mind, but again, you know,
Keelan, you're never gonna let me forget that one, are you?
Oh my gosh. Well, I loved it so much. It was such a learning experience for me. But yes, I will try. I will try. All right. So we'll continue our community hours. It's more a self-check for me, Jean. It's like, hold on. That's not supposed to be as fun as you think it is, Keelan.
Well,
Okay,
it was said with love.
Oh, I know. I know that for sure. So we're going to continue our community hours on Fridays at 3. This is from before. So, sorry about that. Let me move back. Okay, so, all right, let me use the clicker instead. Oh my gosh, okay. Sorry, I'm making it really exciting for everybody. I'm starting from the beginning again. Here we go.
Deja vu.
I know, we're going back in time. Oops. Okay, we got to go back one. All right, here. All right, so we'll continue the community hours on Fridays at 3. And we hope that will be a better time for everybody. We really would love to see you all there, to hear how things are going, to support you and each other, because I'm getting as many good ideas, so, just thinking things through as a community, it's really, really important. And as we think about, continuing on and becoming that community of practice that we're hoping to build, it would be amazing to see you there. And we will be keeping in touch by email and such. And then we also have a crowdsourced resources on our website, on our Google site that we created for you all. So share your resources there as well. And now I have this thing open for some reason. Okay. All right. Well, I'm just having a lot of fun with this thing. Okay, so we're moving forward. And we just want to say, all right, Diana, did you want to?
Well, I just want to echo what Keelan has been saying, and so grateful for all of you being a part of this experience with us. It's definitely a community learning experience, and we really appreciate you spending your Fridays with us over the last 4 weeks. And we hope that you've been able to implement at least a little bit so far, one step at a time. We can all take baby steps, and we'd love to hear what you've done. So check in with us and post to the crowdsource so we can see all the wonderful things you've been doing.
Iris?
Sorry, I was making the word cloud.
Oh, I know. Sorry, we're making you multitask.
Thank you so much for coming. Oh my God, I was so glad to have a new session, like a set of people to work with, and it was amazing. And I'm so glad to see you incorporating this into your classrooms because, like, I did it. So I'm glad that other students get to work with this and have this experience and just like be able to be a little more creative in the classroom. Thank you so much for coming. And if Keelan is okay with it, I would like to share our new word cloud.
Yes. I will stop sharing.
There we go.
And Jean is giving you an appreciation right now.
Look how beautiful.
Oh, this is even better than the last one. What?
I love it. I think we need to like get a session on how Iris does these beautiful word clouds.
I know. I love it. Oh, these are so good. Okay, so this is going to be on our Google site. So we are asking you all, thank you so much, Iris. This is beautiful. So please, 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 if you can fill out this end of design lab self and lab reflection. Look at Iris's face right now. Iris, you don't want that face to be sad. So again, that one, and then the permission to use work. Okay. So for those of you who are interested in joining us for a further discussion of this project statement video, Trang, are you all, Trang and others, like, are we thinking next Friday? Is that too late? Do we want to do it earlier than that? Are others interested in joining us for that? Earlier than that, okay.
Okay.
All right, so it sounds like Trang is going to email us and let us, and lead this charge.
Oh,
You've been voluntold.
I know.
I'm like ready now. I'm ready now, right, Keelan? Like, I'm like, I gotta do it now.
Well, we can actually do it after the session if you want to.
I can't stay though. That's the thing.
See? See, Trang?
I know.
Well, we can stay for, like, let's say, Trang, who would like to stay for like half an hour? We can look at what we have already. Okay, so Martha, Trang, we'll stay for like half an hour. We'll send it to you, Rumi. Does
Okay.
anyone else want to get in on this exciting action?
We should
I
just, you
have-
should just
I
send
have
it
to
to
go.
everybody, Keelan. I think it's going to be beneficial to
All right,
everybody.
Amber, thank you so much. We are so grateful for you being here. We're so excited. And we did want to just mention to everyone that we will be having another four-parter coming up beginning on Thursday, January 8th? I feel like it's the 8th. January 7th. So if you all are interested in joining us once more to kind of continue the joy with us, then we would be super excited. And I think sometimes the second time is even better than the first time, right, Trang? All right, so we are excited, yay.
Yay.
And in the meantime, we will be all yours on on Fridays, not Wednesdays anymore. Nobody likes Wednesday. But we'll be all yours on Fridays at 3. And for those of you who would like to stay and join us to plan, and we'll share with everybody. Thank you, Jean.
Bye, Jean. Thanks for being
Bye.
here. Bye, Jennifer.
Thank you, Rumi.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye, Amber.
Steve. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Steve.
All right.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Oh, Landy left us. I was going to say goodbye to her. Oh, darn. I'll send her an email.
Bye.